Hey everyone, welcome to r/talesfromtechsupport, where we get to have a little chuckle at the technologically disadvantaged. Like me. I'm Uncle Reddit, and have I got a story for you. No one knows what these databases do. I'm pretty sure that the badge is not working or a clue. I'm a database admin, completing an 18-month-long project to migrate to new storage and servers. The old storage was iSCSI using a shared network switch. It's a miracle that the database has only got corruption about once a quarter. As part of the migration, the databases are getting moved from a myriad of locations to one of two servers. 6 months prior to go date, all migratable databases have been accounted for. Head of department has stated that any that haven't been identified are either rogue, or dead, or orphaned. There's a group of 5 databases with matching names still in active use. From name and table structure, they are obviously an access control, alarm, and reporting system. Unlike most of these type systems, the data structure and the data itself isn't obfuscated. So I can query and see that Bob Smith entered the southwest entry at 7:58 a.m. For 6 months I've been reaching out to anyone responsible for access control, building management, or network systems. Basically, any place that process owners might be found. I even emailed users of the badge system like Bob Smith, director of XX Sales, and John Doe, phone jockey. The only responses I've gotten have been that these must belong to X, where X is a company that we sold a non-core part of the business to. Reaching out to X, they have replied that it's not theirs. Last week, the migration was completed. Databases migrated, rogue and dead databases backed up, and the server turned off. All systems migrated were tested by the owners and signed off on as complete and functional. This week, I took PTO for the first time in 18 months. Next week, my calendar is suddenly full of meetings with people and their bosses who haven't replied to any of my emails for 6+ months. I wonder if these meetings are about why they can't access their offices and servers. Gotta love when people start ignoring emails. They think if they just don't read the emails that they don't really matter and won't affect them. How do I delete? This story takes place many years ago when I was but a young biologist, freshly hired by a college, and just beginning to learn code properly. Since I wanted to use some of the tools that are now generally called big data methods, and I didn't want to be stuck as a script kiddie for the rest of my career. I was making friends in the computer science department, henceforth CS. The other players in this story are 3 CS professors who I knew by reputation but not much else. They will be named for their defining characteristics in the manner of the 7 dwarfs. First, there's Shady. He's the sort of person who would spend 6 hours trying to figure out how to get out of 1 hour of work. He once put "had to use the bathroom, back soon" on his office door for 3 days to avoid talking to students. Has strong opinions about onions. Second, there's Boring. Boring could tell you a story about bears fighting with lightsabers from the back of cybernetically enhanced dinosaurs, and you'd fall asleep. Third and finally, there's Friendly. Super nice guy. If you so much as bother to show him basic human decency, he'll be in your corner forever. Since this is academia, that's not a lot of corners he has to be in. I walk past Shady's office. The door's standing open and Friendly and Boring are standing on each side of Shady as if posing for a painting. Shady and Friendly are talking animatedly, and Boring appears to be practicing the art of stillness. Shady waves me over. "Is there a faculty meeting today?" he asks. "Is this the first Thursday of the month?" I ask. Since time immemorial, the faculty meetings have always been the first Thursday of every month. Shady takes this as a real question. Fair, I'm notoriously calendar challenged. "No," he says, and then waits for the next question. I point out that this means that there is no faculty meeting. "But he has a calendar reminder for it," Friendly says. "So do I." Boring helpfully weighs in on this conversation by leaning 1 degree to the left and saying nothing at all. "Oh, right," I say. "The issue's simple. The year before, the person responsible for setting up the meeting on the calendar somehow made them recurring but locked them to dates and not days. This year, that makes all those meeting times wrong. That position has also changed hands, and because this was in a dark age of IT for the college, the new person didn't have access to change recurring meetings from the previous person in her position. So we had incorrect meetings floating around on the calendar, all tagged to the previous person, who, what the heck, will be Snow White. I give Shady, Friendly, and Boring the rundown. Shady nods sagely. He would cut his own throat to escape a meeting, so this is welcome news. Then he says, "How do I remove this from my calendar?" I'm momentarily stunned into silence. Before I can compose myself, Friendly says, "We were all looking at this when you came by and we can't figure it out." Boring blinks, which is probably him agreeing. I remember deleting the entire series of wrongly placed meetings, but asking me how I did this is like asking what muscles in what order I used to raise my coffee cup to my lips. I don't remember this being difficult, but 3 people with PhDs in computer science apparently haven't managed it. Did I accidentally call upon ancient powers undreamt of by mortals to release the surly bonds that tied those meetings to my calendar? I reach for the old standbys. Have you tried right-clicking on the meeting? Shady clicks, a twitching motion like a snake striking a rat. The trio gasps. Several of the items in the list have the word delete in them. Friendly takes over, leaning across the desk and making a serious face. It says we can delete just the meeting or the entire series. Which should we do? Shady is frozen, possibly because his brain has been overloaded by the possibility of simply deleting a meeting. Probably the series. The whole thing is wrong and we have the new meetings set up properly on the calendar. Friendly looks like a man ready to close an important business deal. Are you sure? He asks, with way more intensity than the decision requires. That's what I did, I say, taking the path of not actually advising anything. I have visions of Shady deleting every meeting request he ever gets and me being blamed for it. Shady clicks on the menu, his eyes narrow. It's asking whether we want to email the person who set up the meeting to tell them we declined. His voice has the natural panic of a man who has spent his entire life dodging responsibility, who has just discovered that he's about to be audited. Should we? Even Boring makes eye contact this time. I sigh. Who set up the meeting? Snow White, Friendly replies. Right, I say, and where is she now? Shady momentarily panics, as if he thinks he's been questioned about a disappearance by the police. I answer myself to avert further weirdness. Gone, at another job, so what does it matter? Shady isn't so sure. This sounds like he might be ratting himself out. But what happens when she gets the message that we canceled the meeting? Her email's disconnected. She won't get the message. Shady's confused. I spend 5 minutes explaining how email is not magic and does not actually find the person, merely an address on the network, and that this address is now a boarded-up building. Shady teaches a class called Introduction to Networking. Shady is confused. If you left this job, would you check the email for this job? I finally say. No, Shady exclaims. I don't even check this email on the weekends. I hear you didn't check your email for 3 months this summer, I responded. Boring bursts out laughing. Shady clicks, don't send. And this is the story of how I figured out where the dead weight was in the CS department. Oh my gosh, I could totally picture 3 brainiacs putting their heads together to try to figure out how to delete a series of wrong calendar dates. Phone expert help, missing receptionist. So, little backstory. First came out of school about 3 months into my IT job as a small to decent size, about 10-ish people. As when some companies hire us is because they choose not to or can't afford to hire their own IT department, as we become that person. So, lawyer firm we do a lot of IT stuff for. Granted, I get they might not know how anything works. It's fine, it's what I'm here for. I get a call from EP saying phones have gone out and we need expert help. As their clients they're working with tried to call into their main number and no one is answering, and I'm quoting from the submitted ticket, "Our clients keep saying no one answers and they're sent to voicemail. Please look at this." Okay, I finally decided to dive into their phone system, which we host locally on our own VM Hyper-V server. Due to they house everything through SwitchVox and Digium phones. I look into said database where I'm able to track all their phone calls. I even track the time of said client saying she wasn't able to call, getting sent to their parking for waiting, multiple different extensions, then finally to voicemail. I include this on a follow-up email to EP. Long story short, this turned into a massive argument, getting my boss involved, one of our owners who engineered their entire phone system. From the server to the database installed 50 extensions himself. The receptionist just had a very upset stomach and was in the John for a solid 20 minutes. I can't figure out if it's that big of an office where they really didn't know their receptionist was in the bathroom, or if they don't have systems in place where if you gotta disappear for a little bit, That somebody else wouldn't pick up the call like you would transfer your phone to their phone? I'm a little confused here. I'll bet you $10 it's not the cable. Happened to be on site at our call center to turn up some ports and provide direction to contractors standing up workstations for a new training room. Medium-sized project I've been working on for a while. Walking through the halls, get flagged by one of the call center reps. Early 30s chubby dude with a beard and Dungeons & Dragons subreddit pulled up on one of his monitors. Could have mistaken him for one of us. Are you IT? Yep, what's up? I need a new one of these, he says, gesturing to the thin client on his desk. My screen is all screwed up. It's driving me nuts. Our thin clients have 2 DVI ports. His monitors are using VGA cables into VGA to DVI adapters. Display is pretty rough. Scan lines are apparent and there's some color shifting. Takes me about a second to diagnose. Nah, you need a new cable. I've got one in my car. I'll grab it in a minute. Should have been the end of it. Easy resolution, no problem. You don't understand. I guarantee you it's not the cable. It's the CPU. I need a new one. I've tried everything. Okay, pal. Tell you what. Let me replace the cable, and if there's still an issue, I can put a ticket in to order you a new workstation. I bet you $10 it's not the cable. I'll take that bet. I have a straight-through DVI-D to DVI-D cable in my car, which I had grabbed on a whim on my way over. I don't do too much fieldwork these days, but it's nice to have supplies on hand. Swap the cable out, immediately fixes the problem. Dude actually tried to pay up, cash in hand, so credit to him. I declined, but I'm definitely going to hold it over his head the next time he calls. Yeah, good for that guy for at least honoring what he said. And good for you for not taking it from him. That would have been too easy. Did you read the emails? Any of them? A short but frustrating call on a crappy day where I ended up losing my cool without muting the mic. Disclaimer. I absolutely waited for my cake day to post this and the stories to come. Edit. Apparently last night when I got my notification for cake day at 10 p.m. it meant that yesterday was my cake day. Thanks, Reddit. Setting. Engineering just broke the VPN again. The previous time they broke the VPN, users lost the ability to print while connected to the VPN due to it using full tunnel and essentially blocking the user's network. Due to this, security stated that was totally the plan and stuck with it, forcing users to suspend or disconnect to print. That was almost a year ago. Some users were lucky and could still print while on the VPN. There have been monthly reminders of the requirement to suspend the VPN since it's such a common call. Now the VPN is broken again, and the fix is a reinstall that is re-breaking the ability to print for those lucky users that didn't need to suspend previously. Just as well, the VPN updates being sent out are also reinforcing the full tunnel capacity and keeping users from printing. 4 techs on the phones, 200 tickets for 20-minute reinstalls and other random BS. Voicemails are overflowing. Unassigned queue is bursting at the seams. 7 or 8 calls so far have been time wasters, complaining about not being able to print while on the VPN already. At this time, there are people that have been on hold for 2+ hours. Phone rings. Me. Helpdesk, this is Absinthe. User. Hey, my printer isn't printing for some reason. Me. Suspend your VPN and you'll be able to print. Is there anything else I can help? User. I've never had to do that before. Why do I have to do it? Me. It's been a year. User. What? Me. The VPN has been broken for a year when it comes to printers. I've personally sent out about 7 of the 30 or so emails and all the monthly reminders on it. Did you read the emails? User. Well, I never had to suspend. Me. Then you got lucky. That was also part of the emails we sent out. Are you logged into the VPN right now? User. Yes. Me. Do you have any other issues I can solve for you? User. Well, I want to be able to print while on the VPN. Me. Per the security policy reminder that I sent out last week, this is considered the new norm and has been for months. Right now you're lucky again since you can log in and do your job. User. But I can't print. Me. I'll give you $100. I will Venmo you right now if suspending the VPN doesn't allow you to print. User. Well, it's broken. Me. $100. Right-click the white Q icon and hit suspend and then try to print. Sounds of a printer in the background. Me. Have a nice day and please let us know if you have any other issues. Preferably send an email or use the ticketing system so you're not on hold for multiple hours again. Click. That seems to be theme of the day. Ignore your emails. They don't mean anything, right? They're not important. Customer states computer screen keeps running off to the right. Customer states that the computer screen keeps running off to the right when connected to the HP sled-style docking station. I work at a large warehouse for a company we'll call World's Largest Watershed. Last night, one of the associates brings in a laptop because when he's using Excel or any other text entry program, the cursor runs off to the right. I give him a loaner and we spend the next 30 minutes or so using the machine and CND. This morning he puts in a ticket asking for a new dock, thinking that this is the issue. We have tons of them, so I oblige and quickly swap the dock. Not long after, he sends me a message saying it's happening again. Well, I have a bunch of tickets ahead of him, so I'll get to it about 3 o'clock. I walk up and ask him to duplicate the issue. As I'm standing there checking out the station, I see a bottle of Purell laying on the right arrow key. Well, there's your problem. He then argues with me that the bottle of Purell is not the issue and sits there for 5 minutes trying to press the button with the bottle of Purell. Oof. Sometimes I wonder if people like that are being deliberately obtuse, or if they really just don't understand when people are trying to tell them something, even something as obvious as a bottle pushing on the right arrow key. It's amazing. Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed this content, do me a favor. Would you consider giving this video a like, subscribing to the channel, and maybe click that little bell icon so you don't miss the fat guy with the beard telling you stories. See ya!